Okay, so welcome to Marketing for Humans, bringing the human back into marketing. And you made it. You're here. You're doing another class, this time around marketing. And rather than load you up with a bunch of stuff, I'm really hoping to simplify your life and to help you just connect with other humans in a way that's doable. And we're going to focus on one thing in particular for this. And so that's the journey we're going to take together. Something that is really helpful, I've mentioned this like 55 times, but I'll say it one last time. If you haven't taken the assessment, please go here and take the 5 minutes and find out what your marketing archetype is. So a little bit about me. Oh, this is the icebreaker, which I would love for you to get on chat with right now, which is, what is a strange location where you have conducted real estate, maybe during the pandemic or ever? So have you done a closing like outside of your car or at a fast food place, or like just some unusual location maybe that you've done real estate recently? So go ahead and put those in the chat. I'm dying to see. You're like, I don't do strange places. You can make it up. I was in Universal Park and parking lot. I like it. The buyer's car. That's weird. Did we used to do that? I don't think so. So picnic table. Thank you, Brenda. Hannaford's. Love Hannaford's. They have really good root beer there too. That's really weird, but true. Nice. Thanks, Ashley. Grocery store parking lot. Oh my goodness. During a hurricane, Matt? Wow. Great. Well, keep them coming. I'm going to share a little bit about me just as a human before we dive into the material. So recently, like I live up here outside of Boston, just north. And one thing I've started doing recently is cold dips in the ocean. So my last one was January 14th. And I got to say, humans can be a lot tougher than I ever thought. Like I am such a wimp when it comes to this thing, but we started out with 5 people. We are now at 40. We've been featured in the local paper twice. I mean, I could go on and on, but it's been a blast. People go during snowstorms. I don't know if I would recommend that. So that is one thing. I also all right, party foul, let's move on. So another thing that that I did recently was I wrote a book about my, I work on a mindset practice called the generosity practice. And so that just got published last year. That's been a fun project. And the last thing I'll just mention is I'm in a group called Sustainable Marblehead, where right now I'm working on an anti-litter campaign because I live in a beautiful town and it's a mess sometimes. So we're working with some schools to get some programs done. So there's a little consciousness around that. All right. So the whole human thing, and I'm just about to share some slides and we'll get into the content, but I just want to let you know that every single thing I'm going to present to you today is based on field studies. I will forever be thankful for the 40 business owners in Boston, Jamaica Plain to be specific, that were willing to try the different kind of stuff I was doing with marketing about 5-6 years ago. And it helped me come up with my entire method. And I did a field study before that led to that, right? Like, so just know that everything I do is like testing. So if you're ever interested in the specifics, there is an intro course if you don't have enough courses on my website, and I'll put the link in the chat, but it's the 3 secrets to getting great clients by being you. And I just walk through like the behind the scenes methodology. Today is much more about like, all right, what can I use and what's good? Like, tell me what to do, go. So we're going to do much more on like the value content today. Okay, so let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen and we will just make sure maybe you have something to take notes with. That'll help. Wow. You know, when you share on Zoom and every single program shows up except the one you want to share? That's my moment right now. All right, hold on. Let me just maximize this. All right, Sergio, Ooh, not doing that. Can you tell me if you guys can see that?
Yep.
All right. Yes. Okay. Cooking with gas over here. So make sure I can move forward. Ooh. All right. So what do I mean, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to make marketing human. So let's be specific about what I mean by that. So number one, you're out there showing yourself at your best, whether you're an introvert, extrovert, like whoever you are, like you're on your A game. Also, it's something that you can attend to in small increments daily so that you're constantly growing your real estate practice, building those connections and foundations. It also inspires you and your audience, not just your audience, right? It's you. Like you need to be having fun in this equation too. It gets you results in the form of great clients and then establishes you as a compelling expert. I could do a whole talk about that. Now, what gets in your way? The craziness of the current marketplace. I don't know how Florida is doing, but I can speak to Massachusetts a little bit. And I know that it's been stressful with buyers losing deal after deal. And sometimes sellers not always acting in their highest good. So I've just been hearing the horror stories. Also, you have like 55 marketing options that you could do at any moment. So that gets distracting. And anything you've tried in the past that might have you resigned because it failed, quote unquote. Other things you need to do in your business, your marketing brain, which always wants to get more clients and will do whatever it takes to get them, versus your client service brain, which is more like about value. And then thinking you have to be like everybody else, always pressure, like, oh my God, their Facebook presence is so much better than mine. So before I go into the one secret we're going to focus on today, I want to lay out the three that really make up, my discoveries around how to make your marketing much more human and connecting and trust building and all that jazz. So number one is, what is your why? If you've ever heard of Simon Sinek, he does fantastic talks about this. So what's your why? And I don't just mean as a real estate agent, I just mean as a person helping other people. There's something that really connects with you. So knowing that helps you tell a better brand story. The second secret is, are you in a mindset of contribution? Even if you've been rejected by 5 prospects recently, do you still get on fire about helping? So that's something you can really work on. That's the generosity practice work that I mentioned before. That's my version of it. And then the last secret is one strategy. Why one? I want you to know the best way for you to create fantastic content consistently and that shows you at your best, that meets your business needs, like all of it. Doesn't mean you can't do anything else, but you need an engine. Marketing can be incredibly scattering and depleting. So there has to be something like, what is your column? It's like, we know you because fill in the blank, right? And I'm going to show you examples of that in a moment. Now, the one we're going to zoom in on today is the why, because you just took that marketing archetype assessment and discovered a little bit about that. Assessments, they're step one. It's not like always perfect, but it gets you thinking about what are the ways I really love serving other people. That's really going to help you to know. And so this is where we're going to start, is looking at marketing archetypes. I want to demonstrate them. And I'm going to do this with, wow, my slides. I'm going to show you 5 real estate agents. And what I want you to see is, who do you resonate with the most, no matter what your archetype is? And which one, just which one do you resonate with the most? Just see which one seems like you. Okay, so Maura Allard, who is actually in Massachusetts, you might have done business with her on the other side of your transaction. I call her a nurturer agent. And when you're a nurturer, I'll go way more into this in a second. But when you're a nurturer, you want to make it safe for others to thrive. So if you're a nurturer, go ahead and in the chat, just write, type the word nurturer. And just so we know who the nurturers are here today. So Maura, the way she does this is she says, hey, I get it. I understand how stressful these transactions can be. And not only is her specialty the senior population, who's already probably more anxious than most. And she talks about that. But then she also offers success stories, showing herself as a calming, nurturing agent. And she loves ice cream. I know that has nothing to do with anything, but I'll get to that in a second. So her one big strategy is networking, which also kind of goes with referring. She's a really consistent networker, and also, when she's networking, it gives her material to then put on Facebook and Instagram. So I like to think of like, what's your central thing? And then maybe there's like an offshoot. So, and believe me, her love of ice cream, that gets her so much traction on Facebook and Instagram. It's awesome. Okay. Now I want to show you how different these other 4 agents are from Maura. And again, think about which one is really the one you resonate with the most. So if you're an adventure guide, according to the archetype, please put adventure guide in the chat so we know who you are. Even if you got 2 categories, like put it in anyway. So how do you know you're an adventure guide? It's really about, I see what's possible for my clients and people in my life way before they do. And I live by example.
Christina,
yeah.
Sorry. So it looks like there's like a little bit of a glitch on your slideshow. Are you able to minimize Zoom on your end? Because you can see like the outline of the windows on Zoom. So either if you can
weird. Okay.
Move the windows themselves or just minimize Zoom.
Okay, I go to view and I say full screen mode. So all I see is the slide, but you're still seeing the surrounding.
Yeah, I still see like the little outline of the.
Okay, let me try to reshare because I wasn't seeing. Oh, this is going to make it better. How about that?
Perfect. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for saying something.
Of course.
All right. So this is Carrie's story as an adventure guide. She focuses on what is possible, specifically around being financially free through real estate investing. That is her jam all day long. Even though she worked with all kinds of clients, that's what she leads with. Her strategy is webinars based on her real estate investing book. So she does investor focused webinars and real estate basics webinars. You got to do both. And then she also invests in real estate herself and then shares that knowledge. So that's an adventure guide on their game. You might resonate with Chip Parrish. Why? Because he's a door opener. Door openers love to show what's possible, like they're innovators. Here's a different way to look at it. Here's a different way to look at it. So if you got door opener as your archetype, please put door opener in the chat. Now, how is he operating like a door opener? He is all about changing lives through real estate. And the way he does it is pretty innovative, right? So like every real estate transaction he does, he sends, and I know a lot of people do this, but this is what he leads with all the time. He sends money to 5 different organizations that are related to housing. Not only that, but his team is a bunch of creative problem solvers. They talk about that on their website. And then skilled, streamlined servant heart is what he leads with. So just to give you an example of like, how do they do things differently? So it's all about giving back and real estate transactions. So the way he gets out there, his strategy is networking through philanthropy. So he connects with all kinds of leaders through his work, and the word gets out because of his involvement that way. Okay, you might be like Adam Wagner, who is a steady presence. I've actually been his client. Carrie Gatto was my client, so I know these people really well. Anyway, steady presence just means that you are the calm in the storm, and you love having resources to help people move forward. It's a very different energy than door openers and the last category I'm going to show you. So how does he market? His story is, you can count on me. I know what I'm doing. Not every real estate agent needs to lead with that, by the way, but he does, and it really works. So what does he talk about? Well, here's a great property. Here's a house that's sold. Here's some data that you need to know, like really geeky. And that's a good way to go for a steady presence. So by the way, I forgot to say, if you're a steady presence, put that in the chat. Love to know who my steady presences are. A lot of times, well, okay, let me just focus on Adam. So his whole thing is referrals. He is over the top with customer service, and he will just send in business all, like, not all the time, but enough. And his business is based on that. And then his social media just confirms his reliability with everything he posts there. And then again, check out how different Katie is. Katie Clancy, real estate agent on the Cape Cod, and she's a celebrator agent. So who are my celebrators? Go ahead and put that word in the chat if you are a celebrator. And that means that you have a certain kind of flair and you love to bring the good life. So check out what she does. Her story is she's the happiest person in real estate. And specifically, life on the Cape is beautiful. And everything she does, she's like, oh, this is going to be fun. Like, that's her whole attitude. And her strategy is around knowing everyone in her community. She's a great networker, but not just business networking. Like, she has 2 cocktails that are named after her in a restaurant in town. Like, she knows people. And she does videos. She's a natural on video. She invites people. Like, she's really great at that. Okay, so with that, we are now going to go deeper. You might wonder, like, okay, great. That's nice, but how can I use this content? And by the way, if you saw that you resonated with one agent in particular, and it was maybe different than the one that you got in your assessment, then put that agent in there, and I'll tell you what their names are. So Maura was the nurturer. If you really resonated with Maura, like, put Maura in the chat. If you liked Carrie Gatto, like, she's focusing on real estate investing, put Carrie in the chat. And then door opener was Chip Parrish. He does things differently. Maybe that's your thing. And then I know this is like reviewing everything. Steady presence is Adam, who's super geeky and straightforward. That's Adam. You can put that in the chat. And then the last one is the celebrator, the happiest person in real estate, which is Katie. So again, just think about it in your own way. Like, yeah, I want to be like Katie. I want to be like the walking party that has 2 cocktails named after her. Or I love listening to how Maura takes care of seniors. Just, take a moment and reflect on that. I am not paying attention to the chat because these slides are a little bit, I can't really see everything right now. Plus it's distracting, but I will look at them in just a second. Let me just go through this piece and then we're going to stop. So for the nurturers, you're a nurturer when you absolutely love making it cozy and safe for people to thrive. Like, you love, just a lot of people are exhausted by that. This is like your jam. And sometimes you have a hard time with boundaries, let's be honest. So, like, saying no. And the way you do this is you have a natural capacity to create sanctuary. You have your own way to do this. Here's what you bring to the table. So if you're a nurturer, it's easy for you to bring warmth, help us relax, provide a human touch, create community, get our trust, and bring relief. This is easy for you. Just by walking in the room, you do this. And if you were a dessert, you would be a super yummy bowl of fruit and oatmeal, which I know is not really a dessert, but it's good and it's nourishing. And if you were a song, you would be a lullaby. So this is where we get down to business. And I'd love for you to, if you're going to write anything down and you're a nurturer, this is your moment. So how do you tell your story? Nurturers, it is so powerful if you just level with people and let them know that you understand their suffering. You don't have to come out of the gate being like, hey, we're going to get you the best house ever, or we're going to get you the best price. It's like, just see where they are at. Nurturers are really good at that. Meet them where they are, then offer examples of similar situations and how they were beautifully resolved, and then relief. Either that's in hiring you or something else. But nurturers, you don't have to come out with like all guns blazing, like we're going to conquer the world. So if you remember, Maura's focus is a lot on, a somewhat more anxious population, which is seniors. And in demonstrating her care with them, she automatically makes everybody feel safe to work with her. All right. You're an adventure guide when you get a little impatient for other people to go for it. It's like, dude, just do it already. Like that's an indicator. So what is your why? You love it when people go for their greatest potential. So that's like what runs your show. And the way that you get us into action is by going for it yourself. Like, what are your big goals? And are you reaching for them? So when we're around adventure guides, here's what we love. You see what's possible for others way before they do. And I'm talking like the big stuff. I'm talking like the house purchase or, just any big business goal, et cetera, life goal. You also embrace your own adventures. You live by example. You help us go, live it to the fullest. And then you speak bold truths. Very important and powerful. So basically you just get us into action. And if you were a dessert, you would be a granola bar. And if there were a song, it's the Top Gun anthem. I know I'm dating myself. So how do you tell your story? Okay, adventure guides, I'm looking at you. Guess what? We don't care about your expertise. I know that's harsh. Here's what we love. We love to see what's possible when we work with you, right? Like, what could we achieve? What kinds of homes could we contemplate if we worked with you? What kinds of, right? What is on the horizon that we don't even see? Like the financial freedom. That's an example of that. So also, where do you need to challenge yourself, right? If you're asking other people to stretch, it's time for you to stretch. What's your example of that? And then, I already said it, but you don't need to focus too much on how much you know. We just need to see the results. So if you remember, Carrie focuses a ton on this. She goes out, buys real estate, sells, does all the strategies, flips, house hacks, et cetera, and then she can turn around and offer that. That's an adventure guide on their game. Okay, door openers. All right, my door openers. Here's how I know you're a door opener, because you probably have 55 ideas that you want to offer at any given time for any given challenge. Sometimes it's hard to focus. So here's your why. You are enthralled by what is possible just in the way you look at something, right? Like, you could look at it this way. What about this way? It's like opening up a whole new world. And the way you do it is you're a natural educator. You're the one who opens up those new worlds. So here's what we love about you. You explore innovative, uncomfortable perspectives. You refresh our minds. You're the learner, constantly learning. You start stuff. You're not stuck in a viewpoint. You're generous with your perspectives. This is your brain. I loved finding this. I'm like, oh my God, that's a door opener brain. So that's an image. And then if you were a dessert, you'd be this really weird, but probably delicious concoction on the left by Grant & Schatz, #1 restaurant in America. And then if you were a song, you would be something innovative like mumble rapper Gunna presents. I can't even say a song that he does, but anyway, he is very innovative. All right. And then, hang on one second. Sergio, can you hear that background noise?
Yes, I can.
Yes?
Yeah.
One sec. It'll take me 15. I'm just going to turn it off. It's usually soothing, but today it's a little loud. All right. So here is how you tell your story. Door opener, it's much easier for you to come up with ideas. Your challenge is to really land on the one thing, the one idea or approach that you really need to attend to. And that comes from staying connected to your prospects, to your clients. Like, what are the things they're wrestling with so that you can just focus and land on the one priority at any given time. And then give us examples and then make it easy for us to engage with you. You're an innovator. People are maybe sometimes a little intimidated by your innovative mind. So make it easy. And then you'll remember Chip. And he is, really dedicated to helping everyone get good housing and doing that with his real estate business. All right, steady presence. How do you know you're a steady presence? Usually because marketing is gross. Like, you just don't want to do marketing. You'd rather just geek out about real estate and not even deal with this stuff. So Steady presences. Here's what runs your show. Your why is that you just want people to know that they have what they need to move forward. Like, go easy. It's all right. And your how do you do that? You assure them, and you also offer your deep treasure trove of resources. So you bring all this stuff to the table, all kinds of resources, all kinds of expertise, people in your network. You're also really good at studying thoroughly and deeply. You love to tell us that, you have our back, you assure us of all that. And then you lean back and let people come to you. That's my gift to you as a steady presence if you're here today, which is it's much more powerful for you to just let people come to you. And there's a way to do that in your marketing so you don't have to chase people. Steady presences love to hear that, I think. Anyway, so if you were a dessert, you'd be an apple pie because it's tried and true and steady and always delicious. I guess not always delicious, depending on who baked it. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. And then if you were a song, you'd be Bach's Cello Sonata No. 1. Again, really tried and true and good stuff. Okay, this is how you tell your story. So instead of trying to wow us, all you really need to do is share your resources. Think about it as I'm going to open up my treasure trove of like all kinds of expertise, all kinds of people I know, resources that I have, and then just share that gently with the people that you're talking to on the phone or, to your email list or whoever you're connecting with. We want to see you geek out. Even if we don't understand what the heck you're talking about, we just love your passion for your material and it makes us trust you. Also, if you're involved in your community, and I could go on about this for hours, but if you're engaged in something as a leader in your community, talk about it. Because again, that's you acting as a pillar in your community. And Adam is the steady presence, if you'll recall back. And his whole big message is you can count on me. That's a real steady presence brand story. All right, last but not least, if you're a celebrator, here's a dead giveaway. If you're in a situation that is incredibly boring and dry, you have this overwhelming desire to just bring some color and life. That's a really good indicator that you're a celebrator. So what's your why? Healthy celebrators love to bring the good life. What a wonderful thing. And the way you do it is with your flair. So specifically, you might be the one that like brings the fun. You have another kind of flair, style, humor, the good life itself, whatever you want to call it. Like it's just easy for you to show up and offer some flair. And then another strength that you have is that it's really easy for you to enjoy things and then share that, help other people do the same. Please don't take that for granted. And then you make dry mechanical things vital. Okay, if you were a dessert, you'd be this wedding cake from the Great British Baking Show a few seasons ago. Thought that had a lot of flair. And then your song would be Can't Fight the Feeling by Justin Timberlake, because you just can't stop moving when you hear that music. Okay, now this looks ridiculously simple, but it's very powerful. So celebrators, here's how you tell your story. You share your enjoyment of your work with your business community, any aspect. Working with clients, a neighborhood that you're showing someone, anything, your partnership with a mortgage broker, et cetera, et cetera. So, and the other thing you can do is appreciating leaders. And one example I love to give is, this is like an Uber example, so bear with me, but John F. Kennedy during the NASA space program, he was a real key celebrator who appreciated that program and understood the value of it. And basically you could say he and a bunch of science fiction writers got billions of dollars invested in that effort. So don't underestimate your ability to appreciate the leaders in your community and how much that tide will rise all the ships. Okay, and just to circle back, Katie. Remember Katie? She's the happiest person in real estate. She's got all kinds of natural flair, right? Like she just is a walking party and shares that beautifully. All right, so that is number one. That's the big old content for today. You can pat yourself on the back that you actually made it through that. And we are actually going to move into breakout rooms. Sergio, groups of, how many are we? Like 37 or so?
We have 38.
38, great. Let's do groups of 3 that do not include you and me. So that would have 36 people, which would be 12 groups of 3. And here's what I would ask you to do as Sergio sets this up. Just talk about which archetype you got when you took the assessment, if it resonates, and if it does resonate, then where is it already playing out? Like, how are you already seeing it in how you talk to people, in the marketing you're doing? Like, I want you to just recognize you're probably showing up this way anyway. So just as a reminder, and again, Sergio, keep me posted, like whenever you're ready. But yeah, nurturers, you're the one who likes to make it safe. And actually, I'll put this all in the chat, but adventure guides, you're the one who sees what's possible for others to thrive. And we don't need to, hear your expertise that much. Door openers, you're the natural educators that have like a gajillion ideas. So like, how do you land on one? Steady presence, you're the one with the deep treasure trove of resources, network, and expertise. And then celebrators, you got the flair and you love to bring the good life. So just check in and see, like, does that, is that happening? And does that resonate? Maybe there was another one that resonated more. Just, this is for you to now take whatever I just threw at you and you can just chat about it. And you'll have, let's say 12 minutes. So just do the math, I guess, 4 minutes a person. You guys can just watch the clock. Yeah, Sergio, whenever you're ready.
All right, so we're ready. We have groups of 3 and 4. I'm gonna click.
Brenda, I'll put the assessment. Oop, I am not joining. I'll put the assessment in the chat, Brenda. No worries. Hold on. All right, 12 minutes.
All right. Just waiting for them to join. There we go. I think this is the first time they've done breakout groups like this. So.
Oh, wow. How exciting.
Yeah. Yes.
We're mixing it up.
Awesome.
I just got I have the timer going so we can keep an eye out.
Cool. Okay. So we're still streaming on Facebook. So we can use this time I can ask you maybe a few questions, right?
Yeah, totally. Great idea.
Cool. Let me go to your website. Okay. So these 5 categories that you came up with, like how did that happen? Like what was the process for that?
Sure. So I was doing a field study with that mindset practice I mentioned, the generosity practice. Bye, Inder. Glad you could be here. It's called the generosity practice. And I had 40 people in 5 countries do this practice for 30 days. And the business owners in the group basically said to me, I don't know what's happening, but when I'm in this like contribution mindset, it makes me unstoppable as a marketer. And when I heard that, I said, I need to do another field study. So then I worked with 40 business owners in Boston. And again, I will always be thankful to this group. And I helped them put together a marketing plan, their messaging, like all the big things for the year, using a method I'd figured out. Like, it's a little bit hard to put into words, but I walked them through the deepest level of this generosity practice mindset tool. I started with that just to get to like, what's your absolute favorite way of helping people? And that revealed an archetype. And then the archetype made it so much easier. I'm talking things like, oh, you're a master of ceremonies. That's how you love to be around people the most. Or you're a wizard that creates this space of like, everybody brings their best when you're in a room. Like, that's another archetype. Or like an adventure guide. I'm the one who's like, hey, we could do so much better than this, right? We have so much potential and let's have fun and let's get into action. Like, that's another kind of archetype. So I realized that when you have that, coming up with messaging is like a cakewalk. Like, it's so much easier once you understand those archetypes. It's like the inner work of marketing takes a lot more work than the outer work of marketing.
Yeah, always,
so my work is kind of bringing them together. I've studied now for 6 years, like, all right, fine, I'm a nurturer, big whoop. How the heck do I then take that show on the road? It's one thing to just know something about yourself. It's another thing to get out there and put that into action and messaging and get great clients because of it. So that's the work that I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. like I think always finding your voice is always difficult in marketing. Like you can, go to a lot of training, you can look up tons of designs on Canva or whatever, but finding your own voice that fits both your personality and your location, is very difficult. So this is a great way of sorting that through. We had actually a question earlier about host Joe Mojica asked, is it possible to have characteristics of each? So I think
Thank you, Joe. I love it. I think I get this question every single time I do this talk. So Joe, you're my man today. It's yes, everyone has everything. My work is to help. Let's say you feel you are scattered and are doing way too much with marketing and it's getting really dispersed. Like, right, you're just phoning it in and who cares? I mean, it happens, right? If you're trying to do too much, you just stop caring. Plus, how many campaigns do we do and they don't work? And then suddenly you just lose interest, right? So what I'm trying to do is give you an inner engine, an inner fuel that will laser focus you and give you an answer about how to begin, how to lead. If you have 10 options in front of you, what's the most powerful way for you to be out there as a leader, business owner, and person who gets clients? That's what I'm getting at. It's not like if you're a celebrator, you can't be a steady presence. Like that is so not what this is about. It's just about like, if you have to make a choice, hopefully this makes it easier.
Yeah, that makes sense. Great. There's still some people here who actually didn't join the breakout room. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them. It sounds a lot like me. I would probably just sit in a corner and hang out.
Like, I don't believe in breakout rooms.
Yeah. And so, we actually have a lot of, here we go.
Aw, Mary Ellen, look at her alone. Sorry. Well, Mary Ellen, if you're here, why don't we just take a quick second? I would love to hear like which one you are and if it resonates, like if it's playing out right now.
It's starting to play out. I'm a nurturer, adventurer, but I also found door opener hit me quite a bit. I am currently working on, I'm serving, I'm trying to market to people who need to downsize and sell. I have experience helping people with that. I'm also a stager and I'm working on a whole course for people to take. So from soup to nuts, I can help them in like 10 weeks get going. So I'm trying to sort of do a whole strategy around that and focus on that kind of that client is someone who needs help with moving on, downsizing, maybe empty nesting.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you're, because, and if you resonate with these things, right? So because you're a nurturer, you're going to be really well equipped to help people calm down. And then the adventure guide side of you is the one who's like, oh, well, have you considered this? Like this possibility. And just, your energy gets people into action.
Yeah, I love helping people solve problems. So,
nice.
Yeah.
All right, Mary Ellen, thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
And Sergio, after this, one thing I didn't mention is I have activation questions for each of these. So you could take this and let's say, Mary Ellen, you wanted to lead with your nurture self. You can use these and there's like 3 to 4 activation questions per type. And you can use them for any content that you generate. And if you just want to stay in that nurture lane, this will help you do it.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Joe, with another question, is it possible to get copies of your slides?
Oh, yeah. I suppose I can send over the PDF to you, Sergio. Yeah.
Yeah, send over the PDF. And if you've registered for the Zoom class, I'll send it over to your email.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Joe, what's your archetype now that we have you here?
Actually, I did the assessment. I was a celebrator, but I only saw one characteristic there that really identifies me as a celebrator.
Is
I
there
am
another one that you resonated with?
Really resonated with steady presence and adventure guide.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love
Combination
that.
of both, yes, yeah.
That's why the way that I look at the assessment is just, it's a way to start thinking about these issues, right? Sometimes it's hard to admit that you'd much rather help people in this way than that way. I think that's actually challenging, especially if you're a real estate agent who cares about serving your clients in any way you can.
Mhm.
So that's sort of step one. And then I like to empower you to be like, well, are you though? Are you a celebrator? And so I loved, Joe, that you realized, yeah, I might be more of a steady presence and adventure guide.
I do want to ask you, what if let's say I am an adventure guide, but my customer, my client is more of a nurture person. Are we not a fit?
Yeah. So if you are an adventure guide, what's great about that is that you will have a lot more energy. It takes mental and emotional energy to keep staying present to what your client needs. So that's where I start, is like, you're going to have so much, I don't know, just capacity to have stamina to like be there for whatever your client needs. It doesn't quite matter, I don't think, what their type might be, because you'll be so alert that you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm totally in tune with this person. I know, I can serve them how they need to be served.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's good to know.
Yeah. I mean, they probably would appreciate anything you can do to make them feel safe. It's just something to, again, I'm all about like, you're a service provider. The easiest thing in the world is to do too much for everybody else.
Right,
So my prayer is just, is there something that is your steady presence, your pillar, your engine inside of yourself? I'm not too worried about you being able to serve and nurture. You're probably really good at that, I think, right? So
yeah, I was an elementary school teacher before real estate and a counselor. So I do have that nurturing in me, but it's not the total.
yeah.
Identity.
Yeah. I mean, unless somebody was like, I don't know, it just seems like as an overall stance as a service provider, not to lump all of you, like, I'm a service provider. We're all service providers, right?
Right.
I think the tendency is much more like, oh my God, I just want to, how much more can I do for people? I don't know. Am I making that up? Or do you guys encounter agents that are just like, it's all about me and I'm awesome? I mean, I'm sure like at the absolute top of the profession, when they're complete rock stars and they have like entire television campaigns dedicated to them, like that's a thing, but
I hear a lot, I'm the best in the country. I do.
I'm not sure I would hire them as my agent.
No,
Just, All right, we have one more minute. Is there a way, Sergio, for you to put a little 1 minute, or is that automatic?
It is automatic, but I'll give them a 1 minute warning.
Yahoo.
All right. So
Do you
they
work
will
with
be
us?
closing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Christina, can we contact you at some point if we?
Yeah, at the very end, I'm going to put a link. Actually, I'll put it now. A way for you to schedule a call with me. Let me just put that in. Thanks for asking, Joe. There's that.
Okay, very good. 20 seconds, guys.
Ooh, that's my timer.
There we go. All right. People.
All right, welcome back, you guys. All right, so I would actually love, I mean, it looks like, how many of us are there? There's 23 right now. Sometimes people leave during the breakout rooms. Anyway, so I would love to hear real quick from a few of you, any aha moments, no pressure here, but just something that you might want to share. Honestly, anything you're going to say is going to help all of us. I don't want to just be the only talking head here. So I'm totally going to call on you if that's all right. Ashley, hello. Anything you want to share at all about your discussion? You're on mute.
Okay, there we go. Now that I'm not talking to myself.
Mhm.
There we go.
So yes, I'm a door opener. Yes, I'm a nurturer. But I also feel like I'm a little bit of everything. I feel like I'm like a mutt. Like I'm not just like one breed or this breed, or like the two identities or geniuses that I got. I feel like I'm everything.
Mhm.
Like
Okay.
I feel like I could fit into like all the categories some way or another way. And I was with Julie, and then we had one other person, but he was having technical difficulties. And Julie, what's funny is in our discussion, Julie said that she got door opener, but then she also was like, but when the celebrator one came up, she goes, I'm so totally that. She goes, but it didn't come up on the assessment for her. So that was interesting.
Well, I'm really glad you brought that up, Ashley. We were actually talking about that, Sergio and I, in our little breakout room while you guys were gone. Bye, Joe. Good to see you.
Thank you. I have to go.
Yeah. See you later. So one thing to keep in mind is, yes, you absolutely have all 5 of these within you, right? And the point of this work is, if your marketing is pulling you in a lot of directions and it's hard for you to focus and know where to start sometimes, knowing your deepest why will help you answer those questions. So it's only if you're challenged with focusing and being consistent that this is really something that might help you. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. I'm not saying you're not a this and that and the other thing, right? We all have this. I
Right.
gotcha. All right, Angel, how about you? Anything you want to share at all? What you got?
Yeah, sure. So when you were going over Celebrator, which is what I got, I was looking at it and I just said to myself, this is scarily accurate. Just everything, even down to the song. So that was great to see, though, that get the clarity on what I could possibly bring to the table, and I was with Trisha Cross, and we had a great conversation, and one of the things we discussed was open houses, and I think one of the things that I got from it is to always have a positive mindset, that one experience isn't going to lend to the other experience, and just always take the positive from the bad and add it into the mix, and I think it was very helpful.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's great. And why don't, I would love to hear more. I do want to offer an invitation before we start. Everyone's got to go in a couple minutes. So while we're I'll be around for a few minutes, but I want to say to you that, I truly hope that this helps you see that perhaps there's a part of yourself that maybe you're not optimizing, right? Like, this stuff can translate into messaging and strategy decisions. So if you've taken the assessment, you're going to get a 5 email love letters or cheerleading letters that are like, you're awesome. Here's how you can use it. So just keep your eyes open for those. And if you want me to put you on one where you're like, you know what, it said I was a door opener, but I'm really a celebrator, just reach out to me. Actually, here, I'm going to give you my email address. If you want me to put you on one of those funnels, I have no problem. Just email me. Just being like, I want to be on the adventure guide funnel. And then I'll find out all about adventure guides and stay, excited about that. So the other thing is, one thing that I the next phase of this is really stepping up as what I call a compelling expert, right? And a compelling expert, you can probably answer what that means to you, but the way I see it is, you have stepped into a version of your leadership such that you're changing lives even before people hire you. And it makes it like, oh my God, I want to work with that person. What's your version of that? I showed you 5 real estate agents. Each one of them was unbelievably different from the next. And so you've got, if you want to step into that for yourself, just know that I have this work called the Compelling Expert. And I'm going to put a link in the chat, totally no pressure. But I'm doing 30-minute discovery calls. I would love to talk to you. Even if you're just like, I don't know which archetype I am. Just sign up and we'll talk about it. So that is there, my invitation to you. And I will also be sending Sergio activation questions. No fee, Ashley. Thanks for asking. No fee. It's 30 minutes, you and me. Let's talk. And then I'll send Sergio, like, there's nurture activation questions. There's adventure guide activation questions. It just means that, like, if you're sitting down to create content or maybe a talk or whatever you're doing, and you want to really stay in your lane, this is going to help you stay focused. It's like 3 to 4 questions, but they're really foundational to staying in your lane. All right. So with that, I would love to talk to you about next steps, et cetera, et cetera. And then for the last few minutes, I would still love to hear any other insights and questions that you might have. And I'm going to keep calling on you. Suzanne, I see your lovely face. What you got? Suzanne Conway, hi.
Hi. Yeah, this was really interesting because it's something we've been kind of talking about at our office, about kind of finding your niche and everything, and doing more media stuff, marketing. And I realized, like, I am definitely a nurturer. And that's sort of the feedback I've gotten too, that people thought it was going to be a lot harder or a lot more scarier than it actually is. And I never thought of really, like you said, kind of using it, to the fullest.
Yeah, and if you have testimonials of clients that are like, wow, she just made it all smooth and so much easier, and I was so anxious, those are the tesestimonials you want to lead with.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, because I think, but also I love what somebody put in the chat, like, we're all mutts to some extent, and that's true. Like, I could identify, like, with the steady person, steady presence. So yeah, it was definitely helpful because this is not a typical conversation you have, in your office. So this is great. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. And again, this is like the way I see it. It's sort of like how you naturally like to help people. I love knowing that each human has that, it's like, wow, I feel good when I'm helping in this way, not just being a good person. All right. Oh yeah. I'm calling on people. I forgot. Matt.
I have to say, Sergio, I was the life of the party in the first room you put me in by myself. I didn't know if I was punished or not, but we actually had a good time. What I brought up is, this reminds me very much of the DISC personality profile. And in that profile, we all have bits and pieces. I resonated with both the nurture and the steady presence. I'm a S on the DISC. But I have lots of I don't have any drinks named after me. But, if I'm comfortable in my element with people that I know or in an area of expertise, then, I can be an I. So we're all, to a degree, nurturers or servants. It's just good to know where we lie in those categories so that we can be chameleon to those that we're serving.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe to attract the right chameleon.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm also seeing James Labossiere. Did I say that right? I don't know if you're there. Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Hi.
Cool. What you got? Anything to share?
No, I wasn't able to get in the group. I was on my computer. I'm sorry. By the time I switched over to my phone, I couldn't get back into the broken down groups, the individual groups.
Yeah. Did you take the assessment? Were you able to identify which one you might be?
I think I might be maybe a little bit of a mix.
Okay.
A few of them rolled up into one. I nurture. I'm maybe not that excited, but the others.
Yeah, all the rest of them. Why not?
All the rest of them. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, James.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Cindy. Let's talk to Cindy for a second.
Hi.
Hi.
You know, I ended up being a nurturer, but I also relate really strongly with steady presence, Adam. And when I've done DISC, I can't tell you how many times, and I'm a D, strong D, and secondary I. So it's kind of interesting that that shows up on DISC, but then with this, a nurturer, and as I said, I relate very strongly to steady presence. But one thing that I said was, I still have to develop more of a marketing strategy. And I've typically been doing things that other people have been doing and saying, oh yeah, I could try this or I could try that. But I haven't really been playing to my strengths. So I think this is going to focus me more on making sure that I think about what those strengths are and how to turn that into a better marketing strategy.
Love it. Yes. And I'm here to tell you it can be done. So
I'm hoping.
go forth. All right, you guys. Well, we are at the end of the hour. And again, I hope you feel good that you actually showed up and hung out and learned something new. Maybe I don't want to say too much about that, but maybe this was new material for you, and that it would benefit your marketing, your ability to get clients, to have the energy to keep paying attention to everybody and serving them well, right? You guys are doing great work already. I just want that to show up in your marketing more and make that easier for you. That's pretty much it. So rock on. I'm going to hang out for a couple more minutes. If you have questions, sign up to meet with me. I would love to dive deeper into this stuff with you. No pressure. And that's in the chat. I think we're done. Thank you.